All right, so now we have looked at solving one-step equations and solving two-step equations, and we talked about combining like terms, which we also talked about in class on Monday and Tuesday. So now we're kicking things up one more notch and then we will be finished. So what if we make things even a little bit more complicated? So now we are looking at equations that have a variable on both sides. That means there's an x on both sides of the equation. So step one isn't changing. We still combine our like terms. All right, so let's look at each side. 10x and 2. And those can't be combined. Negative 20x and negative 13, those can't be combined either. So I'm done with step one. There is nothing to combine for number one. Step two says to get the constants on the same side of the equation. All right, remember, constants are just numbers. Numbers without a variable. So I need to get this positive 2 over here, or I can get this negative 13 on the other side. So it doesn't really matter which side I move from. So I want to get rid of the negative 13. So what that means I have to do is think about my inverse function of subtraction, which is addition. So I need to add 13 to both sides. And remember, I can only add constants to constants. I can't add them to the things with the variables. So when I do that, negative 13 plus 13, that's going to cancel out. That was the whole purpose of doing that. So then I'm left with negative 20x on this side. And I'm left with 10x plus 15 because 2 plus 13 is 15. So now I have 10x plus 15 equals negative 20x. So we got the constants on the same side. Now there's only constants on the left side of my equation. So that step is done. Step 3 says to get the variables on the same side of the equation. So what that means is that I have to get this positive 10x over to the right side because I want to get the variables on one side by themselves. So I need to move those x's. So what I need to do is I can see that this 10x right here, this is positive. So to get rid of it, I need to subtract it, right? I need to do the inverse. So I'm going to subtract 10x, and I have to do it on both sides. So that's going to cancel out. So I'm left with 15 equals, and negative 20 minus 10 is just negative 30. Remember, when you're subtracting and adding things with x's, you just have to look at the number in front of them. So negative 20 minus 10 is negative 30x. Then step 4 is to get rid of the coefficient to get x by itself. Well, the coefficient is negative 30, right? Because that's the number in front of the x. So to get rid of it, I need to think, well, what's happening to it? Now, it would be tempting to add 30, but you have to remember that that negative 30 is being multiplied by x. So I have to divide both sides by negative 30. So then I would have 15 over negative 30 equals x, which simplifies because we know 15 over 30 is 1/2. And since one of the numbers is negative, it's going to be a negative answer. So x equals negative 1/2. If you leave it like this, I'm not going to count it wrong. It's just not in simplified form. So either one of those answers will work, and that is how we solve an equation with a variable on both sides. I'm going to do the last problem with you also because this one looks a little more complicated because there's so many terms. So we're going to start over with step 1. Step 1 says to combine like terms. Well, what like terms do I have? So it looks like I have 7x, so I'm going to circle that, and then I'm going to look for anything else that has an x in it. So I have 3x, and that's on the left side. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side of the equation. 9x and negative 7x. Everything else is just a number, so I'm not going to circle those yet because I can't combine numbers with x's. So on the left side, I have 7x plus 3x. Well, that simplifies to give me 10x. On the right side, I have 9x minus 7x. Well, that simplifies to give me 2x because 9 minus 7 is 2. All right, now going to put my equal sign in the middle so I don't forget. I need to do the same thing with my constants. So I have -5 and +8, and then I have 12 minus 7. Well, -5 plus 8, and if you put that in your calculator, you would see this, is just +3. So I'm going to add 3. Then over here, 12 minus 7 is +5. So now I've done step 1. I've combined like terms on both sides of the equation. So the next thing that I need to do is get the constants on the same side of the equation. That's step 2. So my constants are 5 and 3. So it really doesn't matter what I do first, but I'm going to get rid of this +3. I want to move this 3 to the right side. So to get rid of +3, I have to do the inverse of addition, which is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Now, the 3 minus 3 cancels out. That was the whole point of what we did. And 5 minus 3 is 2. So then nothing happened with the 10x. That just comes down. And nothing happened with the 2x. So I have 10x equals 2x plus 2. Step 3 says to get the variables on the same side of the equation. So we did step 2. We have the constants on one side. There's only one constant remaining. Step 3 tells me I have to get those variables on the same side. So I want to move this 2x over to the left side because right now the 2x is the thing that's not by itself. The 10x is already by itself, and the 2 is the constant. So I want to move the variable away from the constant. That means I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides because it was a positive 2x. Okay, so 2x minus 2x just cancels out. And then I have 10x minus 2x, which is 8x, because 10 minus 2 is 8. So 8x equals 2 is my final part. So then I have to look at step 4, which says to get rid of the coefficient in order to get x by itself. So the coefficient here is 8, and remember it's being multiplied. So I have to do the opposite of multiplication, which means I need to divide. So I need to divide both sides by 8. So when I do that, the 8 divided by 8 will cancel out. That's the whole purpose of dividing. And then I get x equals 2 over 8. And that can be simplified to 1 over 4. But again, either one of these answers is just fine. I'm okay if you don't simplify your final answer, because the whole point is I want you to understand how to actually solve the equation. So this is the end of this video. If you have any questions after watching all these videos, please email me. I'm more than happy to help. And again, just do your best on the homework. Remember, I'm mostly worried about your effort. I want to see that you're trying. So this is very foundational for geometry, so I promise it's going to be beneficial to do it now.